Hey everybody, my name is Kristina, and today I want to talk a little bit about somatic tracking and also how it fits with the Bible, because that's a question I get a lot. So, somatic tracking is just a way for you to observe the physical sensations in your body mindfully, without fear, with curiosity, kind of like, that's interesting. Right? Kind of like you're watching clouds in the sky, as Dr. Harold Schubiner says, or maybe like you would be watching a fish in a fish tank or just kind of curious, right? And it's not the same as body checking because so often, rightfully, we're told in mind body world, well, don't constantly check in with your symptoms. And you don't want to do that all day long, right? Now it's a 5, now it's a 6. And when I did this, it increased. And no, that's not what we're talking about because that's fear. That's hypervigilance. Somatic tracking is an exercise. You choose when you do it. You can carve out a time to do it. Like, I don't know, 5, 10 minutes while you're on your own sitting on the couch. You can also do it while you're out for a walk. And literally, all you're doing is checking in with yourself and what physical sensations you're feeling in your body. And they could be, it could be like a tightness in your chest from anxiety. It could be that you have neuroplastic pain that's just there all the time, right? It could be heart racing from anxiety. Whatever it is, you're just kind of leaning into it and observing it without fear. And that's the key part. If you do it with fear, then I would say don't do it, right? If there's is fear, that's not going to be beneficial. What we're looking for is a corrective experience, meaning I'm leaning into the sensations without fear. I'm just mindful, and you're teaching your brain. The goal here is to teach your brain that the sensation you're experiencing in your body are safe. They're not dangerous. That's the goal. The goal is not to make the symptoms go away. So the goal is not, I'm going to do somatic tracking for 10 minutes and I'm going to get rid of the symptoms. That is not the goal. Don't go into it with that. Go into it simply with the intention of observing the symptoms, the sensations in your body mindfully, with curiosity, with kind of a lightness, and without fear. And you don't have to, you're not looking at the symptoms for 10 minutes. It's more of a back and forth. You start by looking at your breath, then you kind of check in, what am I feeling in my body? And then maybe you go back to your breath. If you are new to this, nervous, then you probably don't want to check in for a long time. You just kind of like, oh, I feel some sensations. Okay, I'm going back to my breathing, right? Another way, people who are really afraid of their symptoms, um, for them, it might be better to observe a part of the body that's not painful. It doesn't have any sensations in it, right? You're still in this kind of meditative state, teaching your brain that the sensations you're experiencing are not dangerous, right? That's what we're doing with somatic tracking. And then people will say, how does that fit in with the Bible? Because the Bible tells us that we have authority. We should take authority over symptoms, command them to go, and you're telling me to lean into them. It's not either or, it's both, right? So if you know your authority and you're in a place where you believe that you can command that symptom to go and it will go and you can do it without fear because you know you're the righteousness of God through Jesus Christ and that thing has to obey, by all means, obey that thing to go. But many of us, when they first start learning that we have authority, right, that we have that um, power inside of us, the power of the Holy Spirit to command those symptoms to go, we don't fully believe that yet. And we go into it with fear. Like we do it because we heard we can. But it's more of, I sure hope this works versus, I know this is going to work. Without a doubt, I know this thing is going to go. Right? Do you see the difference? So if you don't fully know your authority and you're just doing it because it's what you read in the Bible, it's what you heard from a lesson, but you don't fully believe it, then it probably won't work. And in that case, you can use somatic tracking because the Bible also says, do not fear. The Bible says not to doubt, right? A man who is wavering will not receive anything from God. Not that God won't give, I always like to point that out. It won't receive anything from God. It says over 350 times, I think, do not fear. Well, that includes symptoms. We don't want to fear the symptoms, right? One way to overcome symptoms from a biblical standpoint is to step out in faith and do what you want to do and not fear those symptoms that you have. I also think about, when I think about somatic tracking, I think about James 4:7. Submit yourself to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Well, the devil's biggest weapon is fear. Again, whether it's about your finances or your relationships or health issues, his biggest weapon is fear. And with somatic tracking, we're leaning into the sensations without fear, right? That's the goal. And it's not that you're accepting the symptoms, that they'll never go away. Again, you're just showing your brain there's no danger here. I am safe. And that's biblical, in my opinion, right? So, if you have any questions, let me know and I'd be happy to answer them. Just I'll leave my email address in the comment section. And if you're ready, we can get started. And what I want you to do, if you're ready, you can either lie down or sit in your chair. Make sure you're supported. Put your feet on the ground and just kind of check in with where you're at in the room. Just feeling maybe the chair on the back of your legs, or maybe if you're lying down, feeling the couch or the bed underneath you. And you can close your eyes, keep your eyes open, whatever works best for you. And once you're comfortable, I just kind of want you to slow down your breathing a little bit. Doesn't have to be, you don't have to count, don't overthink it. Just kind of slow down your breathing and make sure that you're breathing. It's called diaphragm breathing, but make sure you're breathing into your belly. And if you can even put a hand on your belly so that you can see when you're breathing in and breathing out, your hand, which is on your belly, should be rising. And just for a moment, just focus on your breathing. That's all you're doing right now. Just focus on the breath coming in and going out. And just get grounded right here in this place. Just focus on your breathing. And now I just want you to focus on a sensation in your body. And if you have multiple sensations, just pick one. It can be the one that's the loudest, the one that's the least loud. Just pick a sensation in your body. And just kind of observe it. Just kind of check in. Like, what does that feel like? Is it localized? Is it widespread? And you can answer these out loud. You can answer them in your head, whatever works best for you. Um, there's no rule about this. Just do whatever feels comfortable. And what does the sensation feel like? Is it sharp? Is it dull? Is it piercing? Is it pulsing? Again, just kind of think about as if you were watching clouds in the sky and you're describing them. You're just observing the sensations in your body mindfully, without fear, because they're not dangerous, right? They're just created by your brain. And there's nothing wrong with your body. And now let's bring it back to your breath. Just gently come back and just focus on your breath. Breathing in and slowly breathing out. Let's do that one more time. Just breathing in and breathing out. We're going to do that again. Just focus on your breath coming in and coming out. And just notice what that breath feels like. Is it warm? Is it pleasant? I often feel like it's life-giving. It feels life-giving, right? Because that's what breath does. And now gently bring your attention back to a sensation in your body. Again, if you have multiple, just pick one. It can be the same one you picked before, it can be a different one. Just kind of observe it. What does it feel like? Ask yourself those same questions. And remember, it's not dangerous, right? It's just like fish swimming in the fish tank. There's just some sensations in your body that your brain is creating because it thinks it's protecting you. There's no danger. You are safe. Right in this moment, you're in your chair, on your bed, and these sensations can't hurt you. They're entirely created by your brain. That's all it is. And now gently bring it back to your breath. And let's focus on the breath 2 or 3 more times. Let's focus on the breath coming in and going out. And now gently come back to where you are in the room, whether you're lying down or sitting. And again, just feel the chair or the bed or the couch underneath you and where you are in the room. And if your eyes were closed, you can go ahead and open your eyes. And that's it. You just did about 5 minutes of somatic tracking, and that's all it is. That's how simple it is. And again, if you know, if placing your attention on the symptoms is too challenging, too scary, too frightening, then you don't want to do that. You can just focus on your breathing, or you can focus on a pleasant sensation in your body, whatever works for you, right? Again, there are no set rules. It has to be done this long and you have to focus on the symptoms. No, that's too much pressure. It has to work for you and you have to feel safe. If you don't feel safe, you're not going to get a corrective experience. And also, you don't want to do somatic tracking if symptoms are really high, because that can backfire. And again, you may not get a corrective experience if you do that. You want to do this when the symptoms are mild to moderate. That's the best time to do it. All right. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope you find this helpful. And again, you can come back to this anytime. If this worked for you, come back to it and you can use this and eventually you can do your own. All right. Thank you. Bye.